right, everybody in the back row, give me a thumbs up when you're ready. You're good, Troy? Jenna, good?
Yep.
Mike is good. All right, we'll start with questions with Coach Adkins.
Let's do it.
Justin?
So the play calling change happened a couple of weeks ago.
Yep.
How did that opportunity come about for you, and how's it been for you the last couple of weeks?
How did that opportunity come up? I'll keep some of those conversations internal. The only thing that I'll say is that ever since Coach Babers has arrived, he has been awesome and nothing but supportive, and somebody that's that I can lean on in a lot of different ways, not just football, but also outside of football. Especially the way that came up and the way that he handled it was something that I hope that I have enough, that I am able to handle those situations the same way he did whenever they come across my desk, because he has been absolutely fantastic, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate him. And then outside of that, just, excited at the opportunity. And it's something I feel like I've been preparing my whole entire life for. And so to finally get that opportunity was just a lot of excitement.
In what ways has he helped you with this process? What are some of the biggest things that you've learned from Coach Babers?
Just wisdom. I think I learned this from my grandfather and my dad. There's really no way to make up experience in this industry. And obviously as a young coach, I'm working to get as much experience as I possibly can. But he has just been through so many things, been through so many challenges, been through so many times where things are awesome, that he constantly has a good perspective for me. And he also, I think, sees it through a little bit of a different lens. And so sometimes it's great to get a perspective that is different from your own. And yeah, I mean, in those spots, he's been invaluable to me.
Jason?
Coach Brendan mentioned the possibility of carrying too much scheme. After a few days of evaluating everything, do you guys come to the conclusion that's the case, or where are you kind of in that process?
I think you talk to any coordinators across the country, and that's always a conversation about what's the right amount, what's too much. And we are constantly having discussions about it as a staff, trying to figure out the right amount in terms of certain categories. As we look back on it, I think we felt good about the scheme that we carried, and a little bit of those conversations about what do we do in the week to make sure that we're more solid within those schemes, to where we're still presenting challenges to the defense, but we make sure that we are lock solid without missed assignments on our side.
And then when you look at the offensive struggles, is there a common theme that you're finding, or is it kind of vary by drive, by play?
Yeah. I think the biggest thing is consistency and attention to detail. And, if you have a play, you might have 7 details that are important to you executing that play. And on one rep, only 3 of them are important. And on the next rep, 3 other details are important. Whether it's releases or depth or angle out or going eyes to tuck. And right now we are straining as a coaching staff to try and get as much detail into our players as possible, because at some critical moments, that's not showing up. And so, you look at, I think we had over 400 yards of offense in the last game. We were in the red zone. I cheated a little bit. I counted some of them. I got them to the 26 or the 27 as the red zone. We were in the red zone 7 times and only got 1 touchdown. And so we are doing good stuff. Like there are pockets in there where we are playing good football. It's just a matter of getting that more consistently.
Brian?
You kind of joked during the preseason that the game plan is just get the ball to number 4 kind of thing. But I mean, he is obviously the main target.
Yep.
But how do you get it to other people when he is such a valuable weapon? And are you worried that sometimes maybe Noah is thinking that that's going to always be there and that I should just go for that when there's other people available?
Yeah. One of my biggest emphasis right now is distribution of the football, and making sure that the football is going to the right guy, because it should. Now, T is it. I can't tell you how stupid I'd be if we don't try and profile T in this offense, right? Like he deserves that, and we should be doing that. But we need to make sure that ball is being distributed across everyone, on whether that's running backs, tight ends, the other wide receivers. For us to be the healthiest offensively, we have to get the ball distributed more.
Jenna in the back.
What have you seen from Noah the past couple of weeks? What do you maybe think is causing some of the inconsistencies of receivers, not getting open necessarily, or him just not making the right reads?
I think it's a mixture of all of it. I don't think you can necessarily attribute it to one thing. It'd be great if you could, because then you just fix that one thing. I know that at times he needs to just trust the progression and trust where his eyes should be, and trust the information that the defense is giving him. And all of those things are huge conversations going on with us behind closed doors. And I'm sure you guys have been around him enough. There's not another guy in the country I would want to play quarterback for me. I have a blast coaching him, his energy, the type of young man he is. And I feel confident that he's going to move in the right direction on that.
Troy.
You kind of talked about it in terms of making the right reads, reading the progression, but how do you help a quarterback along that may, I don't want to say get tunnel vision at time, but maybe too much to process out there on the football field and is going T-Mac or is going to this guy? Because he has missed a couple open guys, and it seems like it's just dogpiling where he's playing a little too hard at times.
Yeah, it's reps. It's reps. It's reps, and then getting him to understand where those eye progressions should go. And the other part is trusting the scheme, trusting the personnel to get himself through the progression. Because we've left a couple things out there the last couple weeks, and I promise you this: there's no one in the building that knows it more than number 11, and there's nobody in the building that takes it more serious than number 11, and that's why I have such confidence that we will get it going in the right direction.
Justin.
So last time we talked to you, you talked about your experience in Sweden. Can you elaborate more on that and how that year where you called 30 games in a calendar year really elevated your play calling experience?
I was there for 2 years, and I'm a third generation coach's kid, but everyone was small college coaches. And I went over there and had an absolute blast. And it was my first time calling it, and my first time since now calling it. And so it was transformative for me, because I came away from that and I said, I want to make sure the next time that I call plays is it's at the highest level possible. Because I had such a positive experience and got a little bit of confidence that, I think I have a chance to be halfway decent at this. And I still, these last 2 weeks, I've thought a lot about that experience, just how grateful I was to go over there, and how grateful I was to those guys for buying into me the way that they did, because it gave me the confidence to go and volunteer in GA and be on the path that I am to be sitting here today.
And then the offensive line, what have you seen out of that group, and particularly Alexander Deuce, what he's shown in the last couple of weeks?
Our group, I love our group. I mean, we've had to deal with, at a couple different spots, some mixing and matching because of some injuries. But the way that they have stepped up, now it hasn't been perfect all the time, but when we get down to some of the guys that we're getting in there, the first part is with Coach Oglesby, you're seeing them develop and get better week to week, which is what you always want to see, especially in the position I am. To have a coach developing the players the way that he's developing them is awesome. And Deuce, his progression from 2 weeks ago to where he's at today is like night and day. And so I'm really pleased with the way he's developing, and we're excited for where that could go, because he's still a young player. He's still got a lot of football ahead of him, but we feel much better about that than we did, say, a month ago with just his trajectory.
Last question to Jason.
How would you assess Burnett's play the last few weeks, and then where would you kind of like him to see him take the next step?
The biggest thing for Key is, he's ready to explode. He's ready to explode. And he's been banged up. And so, there's just been some ebb and flow there. And it's a point of emphasis for our offense. It's a point of emphasis for me. The biggest thing is and he had a great practice today. And to get him in the right spot so that he can show consistently what he's capable of doing. because we have a great player there, and I'm confident that the best football is ahead of him.
And then, one more, sorry, BYU defense, what do you see from them?
They're great. They're physical, they're long, they're extremely sound, and their coaching staff does an incredible job with them. They're also, just the nature of the university, there's a lot of older guys, so they're really physically developed. And so it'll be a big time challenge for us. But the group that we have, I think, relishes those moments. And that makes it really fun to coach them, because I know that the stadium and that group and how good they are, they will look to it as a challenge and get excited about that.
All right, that's